Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about Senzo Meyiwa trial, of course, and also I want us to go through something that happened in that courtroom after an hour of Nisi. Okay, after the short break, because they started and then there was a break, and then after that break, something strange happened in that courtroom. We're gonna go through that and break it down because that was very weird. That was highly irregular, if you ask me. Anyway, let's do a deep dive into Advocate Baloyi's decision to ask the court to issue a Section 203 warning to Gwabini barely an hour into his testimony. Why it looked cringe, why it was strategically questionable, and what it actually reveals about the state of the prosecution's case. Let's do that. Section 203 moment that backfired on Baloyi. Number one, what Section 203 is and why timing matters. Section 203 of the Criminal Procedure Act is a warning issued to a witness when their testimony could potentially incriminate them. It's usually reserved for moments where the witness is contradicting their own prior statements. Their testimony places them at a crime scene. They admit to serious wrongdoing. They are drifting into self-incriminating territory. It is not something invoked casually or early unless the witness is clearly walking into incrimination. That's why Baloyi's early request raised eyebrows. Number two, why the move looked desperate. Within an hour of Gwabini's testimony, Baloyi asked for the court to warn him. And here is the problem. Gwabini wasn't incriminating himself. He wasn't placing himself at the party Sizwe Zungu described. He wasn't confessing to any involvement in the crime. He wasn't aligning with the state's narrative. In fact, he was doing the opposite. He discredited Sizwe Zungu, labeling him a liar. He contradicted key state evidence. He weakened the prosecution's case. So why would Baloyi rush to ask for a Section 203 warning? Because it looked like he panicked. The optics cringe is an understatement, right? The request made Baloyi appear intimidating a witness. It came off as if he wanted to scare Gwabini into silence or force him back into the state's version, trying to rescue collapsing testimony. As soon as Gwabini started dismantling Sizwe Zungu's claims, Baloyi intervened, which made it look like damage control. Disconnected from courtroom reality, the judge and the defense could clearly see that Gwabini wasn't incriminating himself. Baloyi appeared to be overreaching, insecure about his own witness. When the prosecutor asked for a Section 203 warning against their own relevant witness, it signals fear that the witness will torpedo the state case. This is why observers on social media and in court describe the moment as embarrassing, inappropriate, a rich tactic that fell flat. 4, legal implications that it reveals. What it reveals. A state witness is contradicting the state. If Baloyi genuinely feared that Gwabini's answers could incriminate him, it means Gwabini's knowledge of events is inconsistent with the state's narrative. The prosecution might be worried about perjury, but for who? It almost looked like Baloyi was signaling, stick to the script or you'll be in trouble. It highlights structural weaknesses. The state built much of its case on statements from Sizwe Zungu, Gininda's investigators, hearsay chains, questionable confession procedures. If a witness like Gwabini comes in and says Sizwe is lying, the entire chain collapses. Number 5, what the judge's body language said. People who watched the stream noted the judge did not seem overly concerned. He did not appear convinced the warning was necessary. He viewed it as more as procedural formality than a real risk. That tells us Baloyi's request was not compelling. Number 6. So was it inappropriate what he did? Legally, yes, it was unnecessary for the state, for that stage of testimony. Strategically, it made Baloyi look like he was losing control of the witness. He already lost anyway. Optically, it looked like intimidation and prosecutorial overreach. Narratively, it suggested the state fears the direction Gwabini is moving in. In court dynamics, timing is everything. Baloyi asking for Section 203 so early was like shouting fire in a room where no one smelled smoke. It wasn't cringe. It exposed how fragile the state case has become. So why was Section 203 request made no legal sense? It didn't. It absolutely didn't, guys. It didn't. Because what happened there, yeah, because Ubaloyi, when Advocate Baloyi pulled off one of the most unexpected, awkward, and unnecessary move we've seen in weeks, well, he keeps exposing himself. That situation, Jay, yesterday, the moment it made the courtroom gasp, made social media explode and expose just how shaky is the state, how shaky the state case really is. Because what was Baloyi doing? Why was Baloyi triggered? What triggered Section 203 request? It was Gwabini, yes. And from the moment he started talking, he dismantled Sizwe's previous testimony, denies knowing anything about this alleged Phosphorus party, labeled Sizwe a liar, contradicted key elements of the state's narrative. In less than an hour into this, it was bad, guys. It was bad. And Baloyi suddenly asked the judge to warn him under Section 203. This shocked everyone because Section 203 is for self-incrimination, not for contradicting your cousin or your uncle. Yeah, that is what was happening. Ubaloyi looked desperate, and his timing sent a loud message. He looked like he was panicking. He looked like he wanted to intimidate the witness. In fact, that was intimidation. It looked like he was trying to push Gwabini back into, like, it looked like damage control, not legal procedure. And Gwabini was not confessing anything. He wasn't placing himself at the crime scene. He was not incriminating himself. He was simply telling the court that Sizwe Zungu lied. And that was a shock for the state. What a shock for the state. What a shock. What that exposed about the state is the moment told us something huge. The state's case heavily depends on Sizwe Zungu's credibility. If Sizwe Zungu falls apart, the entire foundation starts to crumble. Gwabini was not just contradicting Sizwe, he was destroying the entire narrative built by investigators and prosecutors since they started in 2018, okay, since 2014, whatever narrative they were bringing. Baloyi's Section 203 request was a sign of stress, not strength. It exposed weak reliance on hearsay, fragile witnesses, poor investigative consistencies, a narrative that collapses under cross-examination. Those are the things that was proven there. And he failed. That was a failed scare tactic. It did not help him. It did not help him. Even the judge didn't look convinced, even though he has to support Baloyi party. He treated the request like routine paperwork, not a genuine consent, if you saw that. Baloyi's Section 203 request wasn't just premature. It exposed where the prosecution is vulnerable. And with each witness contradicting the state, that vulnerability grows. Let me know in the comment section what was this a legitimate legal move or just courtroom panic? Because Ubaloyi was datazelling, guys, there. He was very much datazelling. It was not helping him in any way whatsoever. What he did, it just told everyone that I'm scared, I'm worried, I'm not happy. That's what it said. I don't know about you, but I feel like Ubalo needs to sit down and come with a decision that is going to be helpful for everyone. Otherwise, this is expose 101. This is dramatic. This is very, very dramatic. Guys, subscribe for more deep analysis on the Senzo Meyiwa trial. And please make sure you do not forget to like, to share, to comment. It helps the channel to grow. Watch the videos up until the end. Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye-bye.